Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a review of The Occupant, which is a film that just dropped on Netflix. It's another Spanish production from Netflix. It basically tells the story of a man called Javier. He lives a reasonably nice life, but he has fallen on hard times after losing his job. In order to maintain him and his family's comfortable lifestyle, he is forced to sell one of his properties. But then he starts to become obsessed with the couple that live inside, even going to the lengths of creating a false identity to get close to them. This obsession ultimately leads to problems for that couple as well as his own family. And a key point in this whole story is that he still actually has the keys to his former property. I guess with the narrative, the key thing is that this is kind of meant to be like a stalker thriller. And in terms of the narrative, I felt like the narrative dragged. 30 minutes in, there was a clear build-up. But even like after an hour, I'm just like, where is this build-up going? The whole film could have been done in half the time, in my opinion. I feel like the build-up was way too slow and very anticlimactic, because I feel like the build-up was so slow that you literally knew what was coming. There was absolutely no suspense and no thrill. In terms of the characters, the main characters of focus are Javier and Damien. Damien is the husband of the couple that Javier is stalking. With Javier, at first I felt bad for Javier. I felt sorry for him, and I feel like people were just taking the piss out of my man Javier. And I feel like he was having this twisted midlife crisis. And obviously by the end of the film, I was just like, wow, Javier, you are trash, absolute trash. How did we even get here? I'm still confused. By the end of it, Javier is pretty much men are trash personified. He did my man Damien so dirty, especially with the problems that Damien was going through, and even with his problems, he was therefore who he thought Javier was. I didn't see the villain edit coming for Javier, and I wasn't really sure what his motives were. I initially thought that this deception could be a tactic to try and get a job somehow in a twisted, deceptive way. You'll know if you watch it, or you'll know when you watch it, if you do watch it. Obviously his motive turns out to be something a lot more sinister, but I'm still not really sure how we got to the point from the beginning of the film that we did to the end of the film. Even though, like I said, it was a slow build-up, I'm not really sure if there was much of a bridge there. I definitely felt sorry for Damien, and I can definitely understand the way that he reacted to the certain situation that went on in the film. Obviously Javier and Damien, they become friends, then they have a rivalry. If he went around it another way, maybe he would have been able to catch Javier out. He should have taken the time to sit back and think, okay, this Javier guy is very calculated, so I need to be just as calculated back. And I think that would have changed things for Damien, in my opinion. But for those of you who watched it, how do you think Damien should have dealt with the situation? It was so unprovoked. Totally unprovoked. I still don't really get it. And also that final scene, again, I'm just kind of thinking it's very unrealistic, especially with Damien's wife and the actions that she took. I'm not sure if that would have been realistic. Why would she have done that and potentially put her husband, who I'm assuming she's loved for this many years, at risk? I'm not really sure why it went down like that. It wasn't really much of a bridge here. I feel like the whole last half an hour, last 20 minutes was very rushed. It felt like whiplash. It's just like, what the hell's going on now? I'm so confused. I'm not sure how we got from A to B. I'm not really sure how this relationship with Damien's wife and Javier has gotten to this point of trust in literally like within 5 minutes. I'm just confused. Was anyone else confused who watched it? Let me know. The ending was definitely unsatisfying for me, but I did feel sorry for Javier's wife. She was definitely done dirty as well. I feel like the last scene was definitely another men are trash moment. And I'm just thinking, what can you actually do if you were the wife in that situation? I think I would collapse, because he's not even giving you the opportunity to get some sort of revenge. So I feel like I probably would have collapsed from the absolute disrespect. But I'm not sure if I would have accepted his terms. I think I definitely would have spoken to a lawyer, because I think the way that Javier was moving, I think the wife definitely would have been entitled to something. But yeah, for those of you who watched it, what did you think of the whole final scene? For those of you who watched it, what did you think of the final scene? With the narrative, there was a plot hole as well, because obviously Javier's being very deceitful to Damien and his wife, and one of the tenants in the building that they live at blackmailing Javier, basically saying, you need to do this for me, you need to do that for me. The performances were fine, the performances were solid, but it was just the writing for me. The writing, the narrative, and the pacing of the film, which really let down the film, and I feel like overall it was a very anticlimactic experience. Cinematography was decent, production design was decent, but I think overall I probably wouldn't put this at the top of your list in terms of self-isolation Netflix content. I think there's better films out there on Netflix to watch. I think taking everything into consideration, I'm going to give it half mark, so 2.5 out of 5. For those of you who haven't watched it, let me know if this is something that you would still be interested in watching. If you have watched it, let me know what you thought of it, and let me know what you rate it out of 5. And of course, let me know what you thought of this review. Subscribe if you haven't, and if you have, don't forget to put that notification bell on so you'll know when the next review is coming. Till next time, guys, bye.